Hey there, and welcome back to Stuff in Excel. Often when you get a data file, it's a mix of numbers and also formulas that have results that come from combinations of those numbers. And when you're trying to analyze the data, it's hard to analyze data that's in formula format. So what you want to do is convert the formula results into actual values. Now, there's a couple of ways to do that, and what we're going to do in this video is show you some easy ways to convert the results from formulas into data that's more easily analyzed. So let's just get into it. So let's begin with this data that I have here. This is a simple data set, doesn't really mean much. You can actually get access to this data set if you go to the YouTube channel, clicking on the subscribe link below. Go to the YouTube channel and click on the description section, and there's a link to this data file. You can download it. So I've also inserted some extra columns here just so it sort of centers the data a little bit better for purposes of illustrating what we're going to do. So I'm going to take this data and let's first look at it, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to convert some of these formulas to values, and we're going to look at two different ways to do it. So I've got 6 columns. First column is simply the year, then column G is the quarter, column H is the sales for each quarter, column I is cost of goods sold for each quarter, column J is gross margin for each quarter, and column K is the gross margin percentage for each quarter. You will notice sales is a value, and we can see that when we look up in the formula line. We can see that sales is a value. In fact, when we go to cost of goods sold, it is also a value. But when we go to gross margin, we see that that is a formula that takes what's in H2 and subtracts what's in I2. And also, gross margin percentage in column K is a formula that takes the results in column J2 and divides it by the value in column H2. Now, there's nothing wrong with these formulas. They work, but it's very difficult to use these when we're trying to do any kind of analysis. So the first thing we're going to do to this data is we're going to try to convert these formulas to values. So I'm going to start with inserting a column between columns J and K. I will right-click on column K. I will then go down to Insert, and that will insert a blank column for me. I'm going to call this gross margin. And I'm going to actually take the title out of column J. Now, to do this, I'm going to highlight the numbers in column J. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to click in column J2 or cell J2, hit Control-Shift down arrow. It's going to highlight all of the values or formulas in the column J. I will then right-click, copy. Then I'm going to go into column K, cell 2, right-click there. I'm going to do copy, paste values. What I want to paste is paste special. I want to paste it. I don't want to use the first pasting icon. I want to use the second one, which is to paste values. And when I click on that, it's going to put values in there. So now, if we go back and look, cell J2 is still a formula. But when I go to cell K2, that is now a value. And I could delete this column right now because I don't need it anymore, but actually it's still being used by column L for gross margin percentage, and I don't want to delete it just yet. So we're going to look at a different way to convert the formula that's in the gross margin percentage, convert that to a value. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all of that, and I'm going to go back up to the top. Now you notice right now the cursor is sort of a big fat white plus sign. If I go to any edge of this block, it's going to change all of a sudden to a 4-way arrow. I go to the top and it'll change. I go to the right and it'll change. If I went all the way to the bottom, it would also change. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that cursor into the 4-way arrow. I'm going to right click and hold down the right button on my mouse, and I'll drag that to the right. When I do that, it's going to drag all those items to the right. When I let up the right button on the mouse, it's going to give me some options. And one of those is copy here as values only. So I'm going to copy here as values only. And when I do that, suddenly I've got, this was a formula. You can still see it was a formula. Now it's in column M is a value, but it's not in percentage format. I would need to go through and reformat that as a percentage, which I could easily do. But let's do something a little different. Let's get rid of column M and do this a little bit different way. And what I'm going to do is we're going to highlight all this again. And now when I get up here and I'm going to click on this right edge, I'm going to right click and hold. I'm going to drag it to the right, but now I'm going to drag it right back on top of itself. Now don't lose your alignment. You want to keep this still aligned with where it was originally. Now I'm going to let it up and I'm going to raise my mouse button. I'm going to say copy here as values only. Now I want you to watch those numbers. Nothing's going to happen to those numbers. It doesn't look like anything happened, right? Except when I go over here and look in my formula line, look at that. That's now a value. It's no longer a formula. And I have converted that column to a set of values. I can now delete column J because I don't need it anymore. And sure enough, every single cell in this spreadsheet is now a value instead of being a formula. So that's two easy ways to convert formula results into values in Excel. Hope that was helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you liked what you saw, and we'll see you real soon.